Hello, Vince.
How you doing, Jay?
Good. You hear me okay?
I sure can.
Good.
How about you?
Yeah, you're good. You sound great.
Yeah.
I like your earrings, man. They're cool.
Oh, they're
I know what they are.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. They don't make your earlobes look weird.
Okay.
Hey, who's that guy up there? I see another.
There's Dave.
I was in some ante room waiting, and suddenly I just went back out and got back in. So, hi guys,
Hey, hi.
Good to see you, Dave.
you hear
So,
me okay?
yeah, you sound okay. Sound good.
Okay,
Yeah. So we're old men now.
that
Who would have
happens.
thunk it?
Good. We couldn't arrest time.
No, it's so funny. I was in my store the other day, and this beautiful young black woman, really dark skin, was
Yeah.
in there. She had her baby who was also dark skinned, and she said, "Hey, this is the guy who owns the dinosaur farm. Why don't you tell him thank you for being open?" And the little girl looks at me and goes, "Thanks, Grandpa."
Okay. Yeah, I can identify with that. I've got 8 grandkids myself.
8. Wow.
There
Yep.
you go. You are grandpa. So, Dave, your store got flooded. Is that what happened?
My store got flooded
Yeah.
upstairs on the roof. It was one really heavy rainstorm,
Yeah.
which flooded the apartment above us.
Mhm.
You'd think you'd be safe in an apartment above us, but that happened. And then they weren't there. They used it as an office. So it soaked to their floor, which soaked our ceiling. And I
Yeah.
came in and there's like waterfalls and chunks of the cottage cheese ceiling falling down. And it had asbestos. So that added a whole wrinkle. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
giant mess.
You
There
can't
was
just throw it in the trash can. They got to wrap it up and bag it and take it to some kind of special disposal site.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
yeah, it is. And the landlord's covering that, but she also doesn't want
Oh,
to pay.
good.
Well, it's her building, it's not.
Sure.
So she has some guys who aren't really the sharpest bunch, but they're affordable, and they're dealing with
Mhm.
the AQMD, and it becomes this giant, mess. They give AQMD gives this list. You got to do this, and they go okay, and then 2 weeks later they go, here you go, and they go, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do here. We asked for this. You went, oh, okay, and then it just goes on for 2 months, basically, just do with the ceiling, and it was a mess. And as you can tell, see the empty house here.
Ah,
It happened in my house too. So I had to empty everything out of the house.
oh
I
no.
had no house for 2 months, no store for 4 months, at the same time. And it was like,
All from the same storm?
no, different storms.
Oh, okay.
The house was earlier actually, and the storm on May 4th that closed the store it was kind of isolated. The first 4 months we had record rainfall, but this was like an isolated storm. About 4 a.m, 1.65 inches in 45 minutes, which is
Oh,
pretty much a
That's a
bucket.
downpour.
Yeah, and
wow.
the place the drains couldn't handle it, so down it went. And nationwide, I found out, is not on my side. Not
Yeah.
only are they not on my side, they aren't even nationwide anymore, because after denying my claim twice, they also canceled it and said we're moving out of California.
Oh,
So
geez.
They're
those,
not alone.
no,
Farmers is
yeah,
also doing that on some, I don't know if it's all of their accounts or just home insurance or anyway, farmers is getting out of California too.
yeah, and Florida. They're
Yes.
both. It's like, hey man, we aren't going to write that many checks. We're gone. So I kind of feel like at some point they're going to have to maybe address it like they did with healthcare. Remember when healthcare could cancel you if you had cancer,
Yeah. Yeah.
or some life-saving drug. We aren't going to pay for, and that all got corrected pretty much. But that feels like that's what's going to happen here, because you're forced to have insurance.
Yeah.
So, but you're paying this money and they don't they don't make good on it. So I don't know.
Good boy. Hey, so was Hillary freaking you out then?
Oh yeah, the thought of it freaked me. The actual storm was, totally wimpy hurricane. It was nothing. It was the rain before in January, February, and March was much worse. But the thought, I had just got back in the house, boxes everywhere, just got the store up and running, so much work to get the thing there. And then, oh, by the way, there's a hurricane on the way. And I thought, I'm screwed. What is good? If God wants me to go away and do something else, but it wasn't anything really. It was just kind of a nothing.
Yeah, it was much, but it didn't have the punch they said it was going to have.
No.
But it was better to be forewarned and be ready than,
Yeah.
So
And I see
good.
Tallahassee and all Florida and all that hurricane. I thought, oh boy, like that I couldn't have done.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I have a sister-in-law and her husband live in a little town called Thomasville, Georgia. And I was looking at Adalia's track and I'm thinking, holy shit, that's going to go right over there. They didn't have anything, nothing really. A little bit of wind, a little bit of rain. So I was like, whoa, thanks for that. Yeah, well, it's just what it's all about. Everything's changing, we're getting warmer. The currents are getting screwed up, ice packs are melting. Water's getting more fresh instead of saline. That's going to change things.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's the new normal.
What's going on? So
hard to say.
So Vince, you had this big long list of songs you thought we did. I think Dave and I
remember two of them.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't know. I think Vince, you went into another band, and that's where that list came from. However, I would have liked to have played those songs.
Yeah.
Now there are quite a few that, since I've been thinking about it, there are quite a few that I'm really certain that we did.
Okay.
For instance, just last week, I was just cruising through my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
And a novelty, kind of not human interest, but just trivia thing came up. Yeah. And it was talking about one-hit wonders from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And I started reading through that list.
Yeah.
And I got three of them just off that list, 3 or 4, like the Standells' Dirty Water.
Oh, yeah.
I totally remember playing that. That was one of the few songs that I could do a lead thing and sing at the same time.
Yeah.
Most of the
right.
Down by the river.
Those guys, dig this. Those guys played at our high school graduation in San Clemente.
Oh, really?
They did. They played at our high school. Was it graduation? Wow. Oh, you know what? It might not be graduation. It might not have been prom night. Prom night in San Clemente. That's what it was. Yeah, the Standells, one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
Did they have more songs than that? I mean, did they cover some other songs?
They probably had other songs.
I think they did, but nothing that big of a hit. It seems like there was another song too, but I can't be sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all on the internet.
That one I do remember, and Wild Thing by the Trogs. You commented on it, Dave.
I saw that, the Trogs, Wild Thing.
I don't remember playing it with us, but it's much harder than it sounds because of that. But the way you make me do me. It's everybody but everybody coming in never happens. It's always it's always
slop into it.
No, they had a couple they had some other hits though. They had one called
yeah, they did.
Oh man. See.
Yeah, me too. It'll be like a little splinter, that I know it's there, but damn, I can't get my fingers on it.
Now it used to be like, if it was music, I could tell you Blood One Pig opened for Procol Harum in 1972 at the Santa Monica Civic.
Yeah.
I
don't, but I don't know where my keys are.
Yeah. And then also Louie Louie by the Kingsmen.
Oh,
yeah. I don't remember doing that with us, but I've played it before for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000
Yeah,
times.
that's one
Everyone plays that song. Every
What do-
wait, say that again, Jay.
I said every cover band from that era plays Louie Louie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then some that I came up with just recently were from the Yardbirds.
Yeah.
I remember specifically doing For Your Love. And
Well, I would think you'd remember because you were the lead singer.
Yeah.
anyway, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
So of these, I don't know, 25, 30 songs, just looking through it, I've got, a dozen question marks that I
Yeah.
remember it, but I'm not totally sure that we did it. As Jay was saying, after Jay moved away and the Saracens disbanded, I hooked up with another garage band called the Breakers, and their strong point was surf music.
I hope.
And their
Yeah,
lead
that name.
guitarist was a guy by the name of Bob Cohen. They were both class of 67. They were a year ahead of me. And so at the time I joined the band, they had just lost a number of their band members who were even older than them that graduated and had gone off to college. So the whole thing was in constant transition. But as Jay had mentioned, some of these songs that I'm remembering so clearly, they could have been from the time that I played with the Breakers.
Yeah. So I don't remember. I would have loved to have been able to play 19th Nervous Breakdown, but I'm pretty sure we didn't.
No.
But that's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the thought I just had? Vince, when you after you got out of high school, did you go right into the military?
Not immediately. I went to Pasadena City College for a year.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I enlisted.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a guy that I became friends with at PCC, and he had just gotten out of the Air Force.
Oh.
And he was going to school on the GI Bill. They were paying for all his school and everything. And he was in the music department also.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him quite often about it. And that's kind of when I made the decision to go ahead and enlist.
Yeah.
And
with which branch?
Air Force. Yeah.
Did you see duty? Did you go to Vietnam?
No, I never did. I lucked out. I spent 3 years in Europe, about 6 months in Germany, and then the rest of that 3-year commitment in northern Italy.
Wow.
Tough.
And
tough
I had
duty,
a great time.
Tough duty, man.
I'd sign up
I
for
had a
that.
great time, man. It really was a good time. Even though the amount of pay that the servicemen were getting at the time by American standards is just, bottom of the barrel minimum wage, on the Italian economy and the exchange rate at the time for their lira, I was living like a prince. I had it great, man.
Wow.
What'd
you do, Jay? What'd you do about the draft?
I was just going to say, I went to, I had out of high school, after San Clemente High School, I went to the junior college there in Mission Viejo, Saddleback. And I got out of there. And that summer, as soon as school ended, I got a notice from the draft board. You're 1A, come and take your physical. So I went down there and I tried to talk them out of, keeping me 1A. And they said, no, you're going to go. I'm colorblind. I got the scar on my leg. I broke my ankle. Like, let me out of here. And he goes, no, you're good. You're frontline man. And so I sweated that whole summer. And a couple of buddies and I had talked about going surfing on a big surfing trip that summer. And it boiled down to 2 of us. And we were going to go to France to go surfing. We'd seen a bunch of surfing films that were talking about surfing in Europe, and oh man, we got to go. So I've been saving my money, and I said to my mom, and of course I had all this bravado. Oh, hey, listen, I'm going to Europe, and if I get my notice to show up because I've been drafted, I'm not coming home. I'm going to stay over there. I didn't know what I was talking about. What you know?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I don't have no money and don't speak French. So I thought, oh my God. Literally 2 days before we were supposed to leave, I got my student deferment from San Diego State because I had applied to San Diego State to go to school, and I got my deferment. So, whoo-hoo, I was so thankful.
Yeah.
You didn't do any military service, did you, Dave?
No, I did junior college.
Yeah.
By the time school ended, I was signed to a record company. I was playing with a guy. I was earning good money playing. The last thing I want to do is stop and go.
Yeah.
So I stayed at PCC, so I think I'll be a psych major. I'll be a journalism major. Just like, how many years can I make this work? They finally did the lottery, and I was right in the middle.
Yeah.
And there was a time in 8th grade where I had to skip PE for the whole year because I had this condition in my knee called Osgood-Schlatter's disease, also tibial epiphysitis, also known as surfer's knee. And it was so sore I have to pick up my leg when I got in the car and place it in there. So that I still had that, and it still looks really odd, and it would be a little sore now and then. But I went to a draft counselor, and he said, if you get your physical in LA, you're gone. If you're in a wheelchair, you're gone. They'll take you. If you go to Oakland,
that's what I was afraid of.
Look at that.
Sure.
They might look at that and go, no. So you have a chance in Oakland, but you need to transfer your address. So here's the address of a draft resistant family in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
You form the board, you're taking your physical in Oakland because that's your new address. When they get the notice, they'll send it to you. And this is how it played out.
Yeah.
And yes, I got drafted, and I had no plan B. I thought I'm just going to take a chance. The knee's bad, so bad it'll keep me out. So I went to Oakland, spent the night in Santa Cruz, went to Oakland in the morning. They kept me overnight. They weren't quite sure. And then the next morning, and I'm walking around Oakland, like a doofus. But next morning, they got the guys looking at the line of people who looks at the papers, shoving. Now 4F, click next, like that. And I'm just inside. I'm going. And
after sweating bullets for days.
Yeah. I wouldn't have done well. I have a feeling.
That was my idea. Not to downplay it, but the idea of holding a weapon and pointing it at another human being, if I had to, that didn't sound like anything I wanted to be close to. So you
not marketed well either. It wasn't a good. It was like, what are we doing? It was like, what are we fighting for? I don't give a damn. They're going to send me.
It sure as hell wasn't for God and country. That's for sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you? So you got going in the music business right off the bat.
Yeah, when I was a junior in high school, I was on a group called Thumper, and we were signed to A&M Records, and they would pick me up. Actually, we got signed. I think it was in the summer between junior and senior. Then my senior year, the guys in the band I didn't even drive yet, would come swing by, pick me up, and we go to A&M on La Brea and Hollywood, and just be in the recording studio or be rehearsing. And we'd fight with the Burrito Brothers for the good rehearsal studio, and we always lost that because we were the.
So how do we hear Thumper music? You got some stored away someplace?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably on YouTube, there might be a few things. It's it's a bunch of kids trying to the first one is hilarious because not the B side of the first one, because you grow up listening to the Beatles, and when you write your songs, you're still singing "Go." You don't sing "World Go." It's like I've never heard and sung any other way. So but so we had 3 singles out, and then it was pretty good. It was good because everybody was really into writing, and our producer was a guy named Jerry Riopel, who I ended up playing. He decided to do a solo career and asked me to play guitar for him. I did that, and that turned out to be something I did for a long time.
Yeah, you've mentioned him quite a bit on Facebook.
Yeah. Because he was kind of responsible for me getting into me. He just yanked me up there, said, "You want to play?" And I wasn't that good, I didn't think, but I could learn, spend time and kind of listen to songs and come up with solos that I thought would work. But he and I wrote the tune that Kenny Loggins recorded in 1979 called Easy Driver. It was on his biggest selling album.
Huh?
And then the next year he put on his live album. So I had a song that was on a double platinum record, and then a gold record.
Nice.
And it's like I took it for granted. People bought records. They don't do that now. So I bought a house in South Pasadena in 1981 with record royalties, basically down payment anyway.
You're still getting
Awesome.
any royal? You're still collecting royalties?
Yeah, but they're,
Not much.
I could take us to lunch at Subway, and it's about $160 was the last one. They used to be great though. You go out there and go, holy yeah, I could live. Back then you could live $6,000. You could live all year. Your rent was
Right.
$250 or whatever, 300, and it was like super.
Yeah.
So we would go, and then this guy Jerry Riopel, the band broke up. We finished our album for A&M, and because we're in the Beatles, every song sounded like a different group. It was like we had a country ballad, we had a hard metally kind of, we had a melodic stuff, and they just sounds like 12 different groups. We're going to pass. So after that, the group kind of like kind of went its own way.
How much touring did you have to do to promote the album?
Well, for Riopel,
Well, yeah.
Thumper record never came out. For Riopel, we did our little share of touring, but he also, let's see. No, I take that back. I didn't tour. He had a tour with Poco, and I had to keep my student deferment. So I stayed at PCC, taught somebody all my parts, and they toured the country opening for Poco. I really wish I had done that, but I couldn't take a chance on getting drafted. So and then he did 2 albums for Capitol. Then he did 2 albums for ABC, which was his best work. And then they dissolved in the middle of our tour for the first record, I think, or second record. So the music.
Do you remember a guy by the name of Jay Torrey? He's not from our class. He was local. You know who he is?
Okay. Oh, I took lessons from him.
Right. When I was in the Breakers, he was trying to work up a contract and get some kind of recording thing going with the group, the Breakers. And long story short, it never went anywhere because none of the parents wanted to invest any money. They didn't want to put anything up front at risk. Anyway, but in the course of making his pitch to all of the band's parents, he was, and this gets back to what you were saying about your royalty checks. Well, he was saying that if you get a song even in the top 40 on the national charts, you can live off of that for 10 years. And I'm not saying you'll be rich, but there's a steady income stream in the way of royalties, performances at state fairs all across the country, so on and so on, just from one hit that gets up into the top 40.
Yeah.
And I thought of that whole spiel that he was trying to give to my parents, and let's see, the other guy, Dale Langley, and Bob Cohen, Dale Langley, and Bill, I've forgotten his name. Anyway, it never happened. So it's just.
So Vince, do you remember a guy named Gary Hutchinson who played?
Oh yeah.
Did he play?
I remember.
Saracens?
Yes, he stepped in sometime after Jay moved away, and our band started to, shift. He played bass, and then I lost touch with him. And just maybe 5 years ago, he sent me a friend request on Facebook. So I see his comments from time to time.
Yeah.
He's still active. He has a cover band that he plays with. I don't think it's anything serious or professional.
It's a blues band, I think. It's just,
Yeah, I think so. But he is still active, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I was, but
It's funny, there was a point there when you're doing it to earn your living and you're writing songs and you're gigging and all that stuff, it stops being fun. And
I've heard that.
A long time afterwards, I mean, I was in the 50s, we had this local, a bunch of other musicians around town wanted to get together and just kind of play classic stuff. And they, actually it was at my son's elementary school, and the mom says, "Hey, I know you used to play, so-and-so's husband plays bass, so-and-so's husband plays drums. Could you guys get together for a little ribbons cutting, ceremony?" I said, "Man, I haven't played in years." And you would have to practice and all this stuff. And she goes, "Oh no, you just go up and play music, like go sweep the floor or something. You don't have to practice."
Yeah, you can drive a car. You can play in a band. Come on.
Yeah. It's not that hard. I see people do all that. So, I finally said, I got together with these guys. We talked. Okay, let's do it. And she said, "Well, the mascot's called the Wildcats, so we want to call you the Wildcat Dads." And I just said as a joke, and instead of that, how about the Grateful Dads? And she goes, "Oh, that's great." So we're the Grateful.
That's kind of clever.
Yeah, but except I found out later on, this is about 1999, somewhere. And I thought, well, I should get a little website or something. Oh, there's a Grateful Dads in every city in the United States. I had no idea. But
that would be one big reunion. Can you imagine?
We would play and get together and do Birds, Stones, throwing some dance stuff and that kind of stuff. And there was one night playing, I thought, oh my God, that's why I'm doing. That's why I did this in the beginning, because it's fun. The band's cooking, the people are dancing. Everything's going. I thought, oh God, I forgot about this. It took me 30 years to remember. But
so I'm going to ask you guys both your favorite concert you've ever gone to. That's a hard question to answer because there's probably a lot of them. I'll tell you.
Not so many.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
I saw Jimi Hendrix in 1969.
Oh yeah.
Seventh row at the Anaheim Convention Center.
Ah.
And it was funny because I had gotten in trouble, we'll bring up some other things about this, but I got in trouble with my girlfriend. We had like a hickey party, and her mother was just aghast that she had hickeys on her neck, which of course this was grounds for grounding. And so her mother said, "You can't see him anymore. That's it," for a couple of weeks, right? I didn't show her my neck, which had him too, but anyway. So what we decided to do, because I had tickets to the concert and I wanted her to go, so I got a buddy of mine who happened to be on the outs with his girlfriend's mother, and so we just flipped, we swapped. He picked up my girlfriend, I picked up girlfriend. We went to the concert together.
That's brilliant.
It worked out great. I mean, it worked out really good. But that concert, I can still get goosebumps because there was a palatable energy from the stage back about 12 rows. And I went up to go to the bathroom, get a Coke or something. And I came back and it was all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm buzzing. Hendrix might have had his amps turned up, might have had something to do with it. But some gal, so the way they set it up, you ever go to a show at the Anaheim Convention Center, Dave?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a long hall, and they had him, instead at the end of the hall, they had him set up on the side. So there were seats up above him. This is the way it was set up then, as I recall. There were seats above, right above the stage. And one of those pregnant moments in a concert where it kind of gets quiet for a little bit, some gal up there goes, "Play Foxy Lady." he starts hammering, right?
That's yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Oh God, yeah.
You know,
And that for me was like one of the highlights. And I went through a period when I went to a lot of concerts.
do you
I
remember
saw
who else was
Cream.
on
I
the
saw
bill?
Cream. I saw Cream there. I saw Eric Burden and the Animals there. Um,
Anaheim?
at
Oh,
Anaheim.
that's another artist we did a number of songs from.
Animals.
Yeah, in
Oh yeah.
the Saracens.
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely recall. Oh,
We did. I know that.
You
we
got
got to
it.
get out of this place.
Yeah.
House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I was young,
that we do.
I think CC Rider,
Oh, I don't know, man.
and another one called Boom Boom. It was almost identical to the Rolling Stones Down the Road a piece,
Boom Boom
which
is a
we
John Lee
Boom,
Hooker song.
boom,
Boom, boom,
well,
boom, boom.
okay, well,
So-
the Animals covered that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So Dave,
on their Animal Tracks album.
so Dave, the story I tell, I kind of told my wife and told some of my buddies, and I'm meeting up with you guys, and the story I told about how you came into the Saracens, because Vince and I were kind of screwing around already. I was sitting in class, and you were in the same class. This is like
The art class,
sophomore year at Arcadia High.
Miss Lubin.
I was looking at a list. You remember this?
I do.
No.
I absolutely. Oh,
I'm looking at a list.
no, I wasn't in that class. I
No, you
remember you talking to me
Yeah.
about meeting Dave and showing him the list.
This is what happened in my memory, Dave. You were sitting
Yeah.
kind of next to me or close to me, and I wasn't paying attention. In class, I'm looking at a list of songs that Vince and I had wrote up, and you kind of looked over my shoulder, hey, what are you doing? I said, oh, this is I'm trying to get a band started, my buddy and I, and here's a list of songs. He goes, oh, really? I play. Yeah, you do? Well, do you know any of these songs? There was 50 songs. I handed the list to you. You took about a minute, and you looked at me and you said, I can play all of them.
Oh, that
I
doesn't
can
sound
play
like me.
all of them. And that's when I got down on my hands and knees and I went, please join our band. Please.
I don't remember that. I definitely remember being in an art class with
was
Mrs.
art
Lubin
class.
with you. That I do.
Oh, and I remember the name. She must have been your nemesis, or you were her nemesis, Martha Nebeker.
Who was
Oh.
she?
Do you remember that name
Remember the name
from your art class?
She was a teacher?
Martha Nebeker.
No, she was a student who acted like she was about 60. I don't remember that much about her. And then there was another
I'm
guy.
surprised you don't remember it, Jay, because you took the 19th Nervous Breakdown, the song by the Stones,
Yeah.
and you kind of changed the lyrics to include Martha Nebeker. Because you guys were giving Martha Nebeker a nervous breakdown.
Oh, I don't remember that.
That's possible.
Oh, I do. Anyway,
I don't doubt that.
That
I
is
don't remember
crazy.
that. We did some dumb things back then. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So do you remember, Jay, at the Hendrix concert, who the opening act was?
It was oh man.
Because I saw him in the 70s.
I don't.
Who?
I don't remember who it was.
Oh, I saw him in 1970 at the Forum.
Yeah.
And the opening act was, see, this is again, why fill up brain cells with this, but they're there. Cat Mother and the All Night Newsboys. And the second band was Chicago Transit Authority.
Oh my God.
wow.
Who obviously, Chicago, and then Hendrix. And Hendrix I remember feeling like it wasn't connecting until about midway through. And then he starts doing that. Then the place exploded. But it was like, I thought, this is not really, I'm not getting it, but boy, he just blew the roof off the place.
We had some close friends that just actually moved out of San Diego up to Morro Bay. But they introduced us to this festival, originally started many years ago as a bluegrass festival called the Strawberry Music Festival. And they would hold it in a campground just kind of a little bit north and west of Yosemite in a place called Camp Mather. And so they introduced us. They said, guys, gotta come. And it's just, you camp in a beautiful campground. And I got exposed to all bluegrass, which I didn't really have any interest in, or I'm not
Yeah.
in country music, but it became a much more eclectic show. They were bringing in all kinds of different bands doing different stuff, and we saw some amazing, amazing, amazing performances I never would have seen or even heard about if I hadn't been there. We did
Yeah.
that for about, God, we were going up until. Do you remember when the Rim Fire was? Was that in 2012? That big fire up in Yosemite?
I don't remember the
I think
year.
it was. I think it was
It could be.
2012. Yeah, it was a rim fire, and the fire basically went through Camp Mather and just destroyed everything. And so
Wow.
they couldn't use the campground anymore. The festival still goes on. They have it once a year now, and they have it in Grass Valley.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. Oh, just so many great shows we saw. And
It's
I
fun to find another kind of genre of music that you weren't that familiar with, and
oh
suddenly
yeah.
go, "Wow,
Mhm.
this is great!"
Oh, and they do what they would do is they had the big stage, and the sound was incredibly good. The sound people just knew what they were doing. They also had a little workshop stage, so a lot of the main acts, like they'd play on Friday night, and then Saturday morning they'd get up and they'd come down and do a workshop. And the workshop, the little amphitheater, probably seated about 150 people, but they'd pass a microphone around so you
Ah,
could ask the band questions. And then they do like a little mini set. They play songs, right? And
that's
then they talk
fantastic.
about it. Just
Wow.
so really great. So I kind of miss it because we haven't been, and it's been all those years we haven't been since.
Yeah, COVID kind of takes all that away,
Oh
and they don't
yeah,
quite
Yeah.
get back there. I was sitting in a bar, this club called Ebbets Field in Denver, and we were opening for Emmylou Harris. That was her first band called the Hot Band, and she had James Burton, who played guitar for Elvis, and Ricky Nelson, that guy, and
Yeah.
she had like the best players, and her thing was, I don't care about making any money. I want to have the best band ever.
Yeah,
And so we're Riopel's being managed by her manager, so we're opening up for her
yeah,
in Ebbets Field, and it's a small club, and I'm sitting at the bar, and they're 15 feet away, and I'm sitting there. She's playing, and about the fourth song, I go, God, I can't believe it. I like country music. I thought I hated country music. This is killing me. The songs are good. The players are killing it. Sure, vocals are great. This is like the Beatles, Suddenly it's like, wow, something exciting and new, And
yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of opened my head to country music,
yeah.
which I had no knowledge of at all. I even asked her backstage. We went to Amsterdam and London. I remember asking her, saying, I'm kind of new. I'm sort of coming from a rock side here. I'm new to country. What should I be listening to? And she puts a George Jones
Yeah,
cassette player. And I thought,
yeah,
okay, I'm going to check out George Jones.
yeah.
That was a great time.
We had a concert. This is my last year at San Diego State. There was a little the place out there called the Back Door, and it was a music venue, small music venue next to the student center. And George Duke was playing. It was a trio. It was George Duke and Billy Cobham and Stanley Clark. And we wanted to go, but we got screwed up. We got there late. It was sold out. And we walked up and we go, oh my God, we have to. Man, sorry, we're sold out. Well, come on, can't you work something out? You go, okay, wait a minute. If you guys don't mind, you can sit down on the floor in front of the stage. Did you really say that? If we sit on the floor, we can sit right in front of the stage. And he went, yeah. And the stage was a riser, so it was up about 3 feet, right?
Oh, wow.
But which was kind of cool because the sound it was kind of going kind of over us a little bit, so we weren't getting blown. But I mean, they're playing jazz. I mean, it wasn't like big amps and all that shit. But Cobham played these drums that had the big horns on them. The toms came down and they had those big horns coming out. I just saw a really cool. I forget what was his show. I just saw it. It was Stanley. It was a homage to Stanley Clark. He just turned 80 or something like that, and somebody just did a PBS special about, and he was in it. It was really good. Really.
You ever go to a club called Funky Quarters down in San Diego?
Funky Quarters, yes.
We played there a bunch of times.
Did you?
Yeah, opening up for Jerry's manager this time. This is, well, same, actually, it's the same team.
Yeah.
We'd open up for like
Funky
John Lee
Quarters.
Hooker a couple of times. It's always a blue Charlie Musselwhite, always be blues guys, even though we weren't blues, but it was
Yeah,
went there. Boy, we like that place. That was
yeah.
super great.
Funky Quarters. Yeah, God, those places have come and gone. So Vince, remember we were talking the other day, and I said you were going to kind of catch up on just like little stuff that happened. But I don't know if you remember this, but there was a period of about, I'm going to say it was maybe 2 or 3 months where I thought something was wrong with you.
Oh, go on. Go on.
Dave,
I'm a big boy. I can handle the embarrassment.
I don't know. That's okay. It's not embarrassing. It's embarrassing for me more than anything else. So Dave, so here's the setup. So Vince and I were really close. You know, he only lived like a block or 2 blocks from my house. So I was over there all the time because his mom was a great cook. He had a swim pool. You know the thing. You were over there. You saw what it was like.
Yeah.
It was like she was like my second mom. So I'm
Yeah.
over there all the time. So I'm seeing Vince. I'm hanging out with the brothers, and we're doing all our stuff. And then Vince all of a sudden starts acting really strange, like kind of distancing himself. And did I say something wrong? What was up? What's the matter? I remember literally going into your bedroom and going, close the door. I got to talk to you. What's up? Something's not right.
Wow.
Vince then proceeds to tell me this incredible story about, he goes, listen, I got to tell you what's going on, but you can't tell anybody, because if you tell anybody, it's going to be really bad for you. Here's what's going on. You know, some nights when these white clouds, you go out at night and there's these white, they're like lit clouds. Well, what's going on there? Aliens are actually visiting the planet. You don't see them, but that's when they come in. So what I want to tell you is, I'm not really Vince Sharp. There is an alternate universe where there is a duplicate of every
Yes.
human on the planet.
I had a really pretty good imagination.
And I'm not that Vince. I'm the other Vince. And I went, that is stupid bullshit. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And he goes, no, I'm going, no, it's ridiculous. I'm working on ridiculous. Well, days go on, weeks go on, and you played the role perfectly. You did not slip one little bit. And I started to believe that I'm going out at night looking at the clouds and going, oh, what the hell, are they coming now? I mean, I sucked it in, lock, stock, and barrel. And then finally, I forget why it was, but all of a sudden, Vince, you came clean. And I felt
That's
like an
funny.
idiot. Do you remember that?
Jay, it's good for you that it was all made up, because I know for a fact you didn't keep the secret. At the 40th high school reunion, I ran into Craig O'Brien.
Yeah, yes.
And he proceeds to tell me
that I spilled the beans.
That same story that you just told, that you had relayed to him.
Oops.
And we had such a good time laughing. I laughed until I cried.
That is ridiculous.
And I don't know. I was just going through a thing at the time.
Yeah.
I honestly felt like sometimes I got lost because the family was so big.
Yeah.
You know, I had brothers above me and brothers below me, and I was just kind of lost in the middle.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes I felt like I was from a different planet, you know. Yeah. And it's funny, I had even worked out in my mind that it would be possible if there were a second Earth.
Yeah.
And it orbited the sun at exactly the same speed.
Yeah.
It would always be opposite the sun from it.
Yeah.
And you could never see it.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. The only way that you could see it is if you took a spaceship to Jupiter.
Yeah.
Or something to where you could get far enough away from the sun. So in theory, well, actually, in modern astrophysics, a lot of them do theorize multiverse. It has something to do with string theory, and
Okay.
I don't understand any of that stuff. But I know that modern astrophysics have theorized about parallel universes and multiple universes. And anyway, come to find out, one day I was watching old black and white Twilight Zone episodes.
Yeah.
And there was a damn Twilight episode that was almost exactly like that whole scenario I described to you, Jay. I swear the episode goes that this astronaut, keeping in mind this was the early 60s, and we were just the Mercury program, and that was about all the farther we had gotten to that point. But in this Twilight Zone episode, an astronaut goes off into space and comes back, but all kinds of little bitty details are different.
Yeah.
He arrived back in an alternate world that was close, but not exactly identical. And it just cracked me up that so many years later, after the fact of that whole BS story that I laid on you, Jay, that here I said, you know what? Somebody already thought of that back in 1963.
That's pretty smart, though. It's pretty creative.
It is.
Fantasy. I give you bonus points for coming up with that. That's
That's very good. Yeah. So remember, there were a couple gals that were kind of groupieing us a little bit. There was a gal named Sharon Phillips, and then there was another gal named Ann Silver. And
Ann Silver, God bless her. By the way, I heard that she passed away just not too many years ago. But anyway, yes, I remember Ann Silver.
Yeah,
she was so far ahead of the curve in her development.
Yeah, she was.
And she was beautiful. I got to tell you a story about Ann Silver.
Yeah.
One year, I'm down at the beach, and I'm thinking this is like 64, 65, somewhere around in there. And I was either down at Seal Beach or Huntington Beach, I think Seal Beach, and I happened to run into Ann Silver.
Yeah.
Oh, how you doing? And we get to talking and playing in the surf.
Yeah.
And a lot of those beaches, if you were to dig down in the sand, right at the water's edge, there were these little sand crabs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
anyway, we're getting into a sand fight. And a sand crab goes down her bathing suit, and she's running and screaming, "Oh, Vince, get it out, get it out." And I choked. I froze. I couldn't do it.
Oh boy.
And she was screaming
that
at
could
me
have
to
been
reach in.
Very much. That could have been really misinterpreted, depending on who was watching.
Well, anyway.
Vince gave me the crabs.
Well, Sharon Phillips, I'll tell you, the one thing I remember about that, the only little tidbit was we were practicing. I forget whose house we were practicing. It wasn't your house, and it wasn't my house.
John Phillips.
It was at Phillips's house.
He lived where I know where she lives. So
we were in the garage.
She lived close to John.
We were practicing, and Ann Silver and Sharon Phillips came by, and they hung out for a while, and then we took a break. And while we were taking a break, Sharon Phillips, I'm sitting on my drum throne. Sharon Phillips sits on my lap, and I'm like, "Whoa, what is this all about?" Oh. She sat in front of me in English class or something like that. So we had a little, flirtation thing going on. Well, one night, the phone rings at home, and I pick it up, and it's Sharon. And she goes, "Jay, hi, it's Sharon. Hey, what are you doing?" Nothing. It was like 6 o'clock or 6:30. I just had dinner. She says, "Well, my parents are out of town, and I was wondering if you might like to come over." And I'm like, I'm feeling that stuff. My testosterone's working. I'm okay. You sat on my lap. I don't know if you even took my hands and put them on your breasts, but maybe I'm making that up. But I'm starting to fantasize about this, right? Well, I said, well, okay, I gotta get dressed and I have to work it out here at home. I'll make up some excuse. I'm going over to Vince's house. No, I didn't say that, Vince. But anyway, so she says, okay, I'll see you in about an hour. I put down the phone, click, and then I hear another click. And it's my mother. She
Oops.
picked up the phone and she heard the whole conversation.
Oh no.
He hung
Stop
up.
it.
She came right into my bedroom and she says, Mister, you are going nowhere. Nowhere, nowhere. And in a way, in a kind of a way, I'm kind of glad because, I don't know what
Yeah.
she had in mind, but we could have gotten in trouble. Right?
Yeah.
Easily gotten in trouble. So I'm kind of glad I dodged that one.
We don't think about that then.
No, oh no, I had visions of
Invincible.
Believe me, I just, Well, the other story about that. Remember the gal that lived across the street from me, Joanne Borlace?
Oh, yep, I remember.
I'll make a long story very short, but I got this whole idea that I was going to go over to her bedroom and like sleep with her. All right. So I came up with this elaborate caper, leaving my bedroom in the middle of the night, crossing the street, hopping her fence, going to the back of her window, pulling myself up, swinging myself into her bedroom, sleeping with her. We didn't do anything. I felt her up. We kissed. That was all we ever did. Her parents are across the hall sleeping. Her dad snored. If he stopped snoring, I jumped under the bed. And then we stopped snoring. I get back on the bed. We'd feel each other. And then I'd have to do the thing in reverse. Well, they kept their dog in the garage. I had to be so quiet. I did this 3 times without getting caught. And then Big Mouth Jay, just like with Craig O'Brien in your story, I did the stupidest thing you could do. And you remember, you played Doug Hurst's brother's Stratocaster. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, all the time.
Well, Doug was younger than me, and he kind of looked up to me as being like an older brother type. And so we were kind of close, but I pissed him off for some reason. I don't know what it was. But I had revealed to him that I was sneaking over and getting with his sister. Well, when I pissed him off enough, guess what he did? Mom, guess what? And man, her mother calls, and I pick up the phone, and I go, hello. She goes, this is Mrs. Borlace. Is your mother home? And I went, yeah, hold on. Put the phone down. They talked for about 10 minutes. I am grounded for a month, which I thought was pretty mild considering,
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Man, oh man,
That's
you guys.
what you do when you're young. You get kind of crazy and do stupid shit. You do any stuff like that, Dave?
Yeah. No, I did. You know what? I was so shy in high school. I couldn't make eye contact. I went on one date and I was so petrified. That was it. I thought I took Kathy Hill to the Bee Gees concert at the Anaheim Convention Center, their first concert.
Yeah.
And I was okay. Thank you. Good night. I'm just like, I couldn't take it. I had like zero confidence. It took me a while to get over that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you were playing and you're out, doing gigs, didn't you have gals kind of checking you out and stuff?
Yeah. That's what, playing, going to Arizona and being a star, because they actually wanted my autograph. I'd be there. We'd have this guy. We were so popular there. It was insane. And that's helped bring me out of my shell for sure. But it was like, at one point, I think it was 78.
Yeah.
We headlined an outdoor concert. It was a brand new venue. It was just us, and Jon Stewart was the opening act.
Yeah.
And there were 17,000 people there. It was just
wow.
And I can hear them singing on the ballads. They're singing back. And I go there when, those days I'd go there for a weekend and I'd bring back $8,000. So I could live for, like I said, for a year on $5.
Great money at that time.
So we kept going back and doing that, but it was crazy. And then I'd come back to LA and they go, so who's that guy? What'd you do last weekend? Well, I played, what's his name? Nobody knows what the heck. It's like the secret life.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back and I go to Phoenix and the kids in the kitchen are so excited. They want some autographs. Would you mind? And I can hear our music playing in the restaurant, it's just like surreal. And then back to driving a Volkswagen and taking classes at PCC, but oh well.
Oh my God.
Thinking back to the very beginning, the roots of our band, we weren't called the Saracens. We didn't have a name.
We did.
But Doug Borlaise was part of it.
Was
But
he?
he never did take it seriously, and
That's
he
right.
never did really pick up the guitar very well.
No, he didn't.
And there was also I don't know if it's Chuck Gorau
Yeah,
or Corral.
Goral, Geo. Yeah.
G-O-R-A-L.
Chuck Gorau.
Yeah,
And at that time, I didn't even have a guitar.
yeah,
I had a banjo. That
Yeah.
was one of my first instruments.
yeah.
And I forget where, but I came across a pickup, like a portable universal pickup,
Yeah,
and I taped it to my banjo
yeah.
and plugged it into an amplifier. And I was like, Jay, listen to this. And I was doing the opening riff to the Beatles song, I Think I'm Gonna Be Sad. I think it's Today, Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride. Yeah.
Down,
Wow.
down, 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 down. And I was doing it on my banjo, and through the amplifier, it actually sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
But Chuck Gorau didn't like it. He says, "Oh, great, we got an electric banjo in the band." He didn't like the idea of it.
You're way ahead of your time. That's hip.
Maybe
now.
so. Maybe so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're way ahead of your time.
Yeah.
That's so who replaced, okay, if Gary Hutchinson came in, who's playing drums?
Jerry Peckham.
Who was?
Jerry Peckham, right, Vince?
He was the drummer for the Breakers.
Oh, okay.
And I think he did sit in a few times, but he was just more at that point in time. I think he had just graduated high school,
Okay.
and he was more interested in chasing girls and getting laid and other stuff. So I don't think we ever found a really good replacement for you, Jay. But aside from playing the drums, as I recall, the bonding and the connection between us, Jay, you were the glue that kept it together. You were the driving force behind the band. That's how I remember it.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Jay.
So when you left, the whole
Yeah.
opera just fell apart.
Yeah.
I have this memory of Jay, and you're giving me a ride home to my house on 4th and Norman.
Yeah.
And where you turn on Norman and you come to this. Why this is stuck in my head? We're in the giant blue Chrysler New Yorker.
Yeah.
And you come to an uncontrolled intersection, and you announce it. Oh, an uncontrolled intersection. I got to stop, make sure. And then you go. And for some reason, I've never heard that phrase, uncontrolled intersection. No stop signs. It was but it was an intersection. You stop. And you just kind of, I thought, I was so impressed by that. I thought, I've always remembered that. But when I come to uncontrolled intersection.
That baby blue Chrysler.
Yeah.
I remember when your mom bought that. I think I went with you when your mom went to pick it up.
Really? You might have.
And I was just so jazzed about it because it had a 413 V8 engine.
It did.
And it was an automatic, but it was a select-o-matic, and it had it on the column. Or not on the column, on the console.
That was a very cool. That car would be a classic lowrider these days. Can you imagine?
Absolutely.
Oh man, or just trick it out so it looks like it did back in 1967 or whenever that was. Yeah, that was.
I have to say, it is kind of depressing when you go to an antique auto show and you go, "Oh yeah, I remember when that car was new."
Oh, I had one of those.
Yeah, 68 Mustang. Yeah, that was just yesterday.
So am I the senior member here of our group?
Right.
Maybe by a few months.
Yeah,
I turned 73.
I'm January 50. January 50.
Yeah, September 8th, 50.
50. So you're older than me.
August.
No, I'm
Oh,
younger.
you're younger.
August
You're on
5th.
the other end. I'm sorry, you're on the other
I
end.
turned 73 in a few days.
You got it. There you go. Right. And
Vince?
Vince, remind me, Vince, what's your birthday?
August 5th.
Okay, August 5th. Right.
Yep. So
Yeah.
just a little bit ago, I turned 73.
Okay, so I am.
You know, isn't it funny when you see like a headline in a newspaper or something, you know, thugs beat senior citizen, blah, blah, blah. And you think, oh, this poor old guy down with a cane. And you read the guy's like 69 or 70. I thought, oh, wait, I'm older than that.
Yeah,
poor
right.
guy, you know, just like,
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying, Dave.
yeah.
Hardly a day goes by that I don't see something, you know, just in the everyday news that I say, wait a minute, that could be me.
Yeah.
Vince, I really love that generation, 3 generations, little video you sent me of your son and his son
Yeah.
playing guitar. That was
That
very,
was pretty cool.
yeah, that was.
Oh, that was my first grandchild. That
Yeah.
was Jordan,
Yeah,
and he was my first grandchild.
yeah,
He's 18, 19. He just started his second year of college at University of Kentucky in Lexington. Anyway,
yeah,
he's a great kid. He really is. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
yeah,
And he has a musical inclination that is really good that
yeah,
he just discovered like weeks ago.
yeah,
He found some kind of a program for his laptop,
yeah.
and it's a visual learning thing.
Okay.
So that shows the keyboard,
Yeah,
and the keyboard is animated,
yeah,
and you just kind of follow along visually. So the other just yesterday, I was over at my son's house. He lives kind of across the street from me.
yeah.
And he says, Dad, come in here. This is remarkable. You got to see this. Jordan's only been working at this for a couple of days. And I walk in and he's playing Claire de Lune. Like he'd been studying piano for 5 years.
Wow.
Wow.
And I'm just amazed at it. It's just, and got to talking about it, and there is a concept that's called pattern recognition that really smart people have.
Yeah.
I think he has it. He sees patterns in the keys.
Wow.
And
That's
he's
the
playing.
idea.
Yeah, it just amazed me.
That's fantastic. You know, I just realized I got together with, was it last year or was it this year? I think it was last year, late. David Kramer, Jim Sandiford, and Mark Fooey. He was new. He was only in school for a year. I can't remember the guy, but you guys remember David Kramer, right?
Sure.
Yeah, acting.
Yeah, he's been close friends with Jim Sandiford for a long time.
Yeah.
So what, did you cross paths with them?
They came down and visited me at the store, and we all sat.
Oh, they
in the
did.
back. And this guy, Mark, why am I blanking on his name? I don't think you know him, Jay, because he just came in as the senior or something. And
Yeah, no, I don't.
but he would remember these things that didn't happen. He goes, "Oh yeah, remember that time when Van Halen played in the lunch or whatever? It wasn't Van Halen, it was somebody like that, you know."
Yeah.
Lunch break. And I remember being in the class and the teacher going, "What is that noise?" I said, "That never really happened." And he said, "Oh, Nim, remember the time you did this thing?" I said, "No, I didn't do that." It's very odd. I was like, something's. I'm
So
talking.
is your store in South Pass?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can walk there if I so desire, and often I do, but it's 5 minutes away. So
yeah, I want to come up because it's been a while since I've been. I love South Pasadena.
it's a great city, really.
It's great.
Yeah, it's kind of funky. It's got like an old, it's sort of a Midwesty feel, but it still has like hipsters sprinkled around.
Oh yeah. Well, the Norton Simon Museum's a museum I like, and then I would go on that Green and Green tour. The green and green homes that are around there. That's a great. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. Explaining.
My wife just got my wife does museum store consulting, and she just got the Gamble House is the really primo Green and Green house, and that's probably on that tour. And then
It is on the tour. That's the one I think I'm talking about.
Yeah, they want
I
her
never,
to help.
I didn't remember the name of it, but that's it.
Yeah. Now, where are you, Jay? What city?
I'm right here in San Diego. Because when I saw you and your wife, we met you at
Batteries.
Encinitas because you had a condo.
Yeah.
You still have that condo?
No.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. We met.
Parents died.
Yeah.
Parents owned passed away. And
Oh, they did. Oh, okay.
we
Yeah,
still
so-
go there. You know, in fact, I have to go down there for a memorial service week after next.
Oh, you
for, cousin, but
Okay. Well, if you got
Vince
some extra
lost
time,
his-
hook up with me.
Vince's headphones went out there, his earbuds.
Yeah. We
I sure like it down there, though.
yeah. So that's the last time when I saw you, when we caught up after all those
Yeah.
years. I saw your picture on the cover of that magazine. That thing was getting ready to go in the trash, and I went, wait a minute, I have a look at it.
Yeah,
And I looked at it and I went, wait a minute.
those eyebrows.
Oh, look at those eyebrows. I
That's
know
what you
that
told-
guy. I know. Then I opened it up and it was you, and that's how we connected. I wrote you emails. So
Yeah, that was
that was
our
good. That was
the
good.
beginning. I've had some incredible press for the store. It's hilarious.
Did you? Yeah.
USA Today,
Oh, nice.
10 best independent toy stores in the country.
Wow.
There was a magazine put out by Forbes called Forbes Travelers, same thing again. And then I got a call a few years ago from a guy who worked at BuzzFeed, and he goes, hey, it's the middle of Christmas and I'm answering the phone. Yeah, we've been trying to get a hold of you. We're looking we have a little thing on toy stores and we're looking for a picture, but it's okay. We found it online, and I'll send you a link if you want to see the article. I said, sure. So he sends me a link, and it's the 17 toy stores that will change your kids' lives. And I think, well, that's pretty good. And I'm expecting it to be local stores. And the first one's in London, second one's Tokyo, Lisbon, just all over, and then South Pasadena, New York, and whatever.
Wow.
I thought that's hilarious.
Wow.
Who wandered in here? And I know
Yeah.
it was just the name kind of intrigued them, I think, but it's so funny.
How many years you been doing that now, Dave?
This will be 29 in November.
Wow, congratulations.
So I told my son, I said, we went to Greece first vacation I've had in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
To Greece last year. I said, I'm kind of at that age where the window's shrinking to do this. I'd love to play more music. I love to write and record. I still want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd like to get the store, just get out of the store basically. And he said, well, I'll take it over, because he's also he plays saxophone.
Oh,
And he's finding out it's very difficult to pay your bills playing music. So
yeah.
he's kind of shadowing me for a year, and in 2024, I'll probably hand it off to him at some point.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'll still come in, but
Yeah.
it'll be good. Let's see, my laptop doesn't have a mic. Oh no, what?
Oh, what is that?
That's his headphones ran out.
We need to know sign language.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's been we've been going over an hour now. I recorded this whole thing.
Okay.
So if there's any reason you want to hear it again, I'll send it all to you.
I just want to do it again.
Yeah, we should for sure.
Let's invite Sharon Phillips.
Yeah, we got to look them all up. They don't have the same. They've married, and who knows where they are.
Yeah.
Right? They got different names.
Yeah.
But
I became friends with Wendy Harris.
You did?
Wendy in the art class, and you were
Yes.
like, hey, we're in a band. And I was like, I couldn't even get close to her, and then we became friends, and Dale Howard, and I have more friends now that were in high school than I did in high school. But
Yeah, right. I recently caught up with an old high school buddy of mine, and who just lives here, and he lives in Cardiff, and I didn't know that. And we've caught up again, and we've gotten together a couple times. It's been great.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Dug the heck out of this.
yeah, this is good. So I guess I'll just say let's do it again.
Yeah.
And I'll set it up, and we'll pick a date, and we'll reconnect.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
See you guys. See you, Vince.
End it.